Greetings! Welcome to another Python tutorial with tutor Edward Lee. That's me. My name is Edward. Yep. And the topic for this video is computer graphics with PyGame. I want to go through a checklist that I have of things that I like to go over with students to, cover the basics of PyGame, but also to apply a lot of core ideas that I teach my students that I think are important, even if there are like easier ways of doing it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to recommend is to have a reference file for PyGame. I have as you can see, PyGame reference. I guess you can't see the name, but I've just PyGame reference.py is a file I have, and I just have stuff that I'm gonna use for like every single program that I write, and so that's it. No matter what, I'm always gonna have to import PyGame, create a background color of some sort, create a width and a height for a window, have a caption, initialize, and so on, right? I'm always going to have these things. I'm not going to go through them. If we need to use them, then I will mention them, later. But if I just run this on its own, what it does is kind of straightforward. It creates a window. Game name, game name. It's 500 pixels by 500 pixels. The origin is up here. This is 0, 0. Down here is 500, 500. This is 0, 500. This is 500, 0. So that's that. The background color is black. Those are RGB values, so that's 0 for red, 0 for green, 0 for blue. If I make that, let's say 255, which is the maximum value, then boom, now it's blue. And that's actually where I like to start with my students, is I like to tell them to make it so that the background color changes. And so we're going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to set the background color equal to 0, 0, 0. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to create a variable called background blue, bg underscore b, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. And then what I'm going to do down here, so this is the actual game code down here. This is the game loop. Everything that you're going to run, that you actually want to update or change or animate or whatever, any events for like mouse clicking or arrow key pressing is going to go in here. And so I'm going to put in there, I'm going to increment BGB by 1. So let's do that right here. BGB plus equals 1. I'm going to recreate the background color variable inside this code. I guess I can do that right beneath that. But instead of using 0, I'm going to use BGB. So it's going to be 1, then it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. And win.fill is important here. Every time you make an update, you're going to have to, I want to fill the background of the screen or of the window with the new background color and then update it. So let's see what happens. And it's just going to slowly get bluer. And then at some point, it's actually going to break because it's going to get a value of 256. Boom, and there it is, type error, invalid color argument. So that's something I'll ask my students to fix. One of the easy ways to do that is just to put a try and accept around it. But that's or try and accept around this. Or you can do BGB divided by or mod 255, because what the modulo will do is if we have 1 mod 255, that's just 1. If we have 256 mod 255, that's also 1. If we have, let's see, what's 2 times 255? I'm not going to expend mental effort. So 511 mod 255, it's also going to be 1, right? The idea is that, it's if you mod something by a certain number, it's never going to go above that number. So with that in mind, now what it'll do is it'll run and then it'll reset. So it's going to go from 0 to 255 for the blue argument, and then once it hits 255, it'll reset. And if you don't want it to be so jarring, then we can change that, but we'd have to change the way that we handle it. Basically, we could put an if-else statement around line 20, and we can make it so it's if BGB is greater than or equal to 255, Well, let's make it 254 to be safe. Um, then BG, uh, let's say BGB. I guess we don't want to just subtract it once. So normally what we'll have to do is we'll have to create another variable outside here. Um, I guess I'll do it up above. And I'm going to make it BG I for BG incrementer. And I'm going to set it equal to 2. Let's make it go a little bit faster. So background color incrementer. If I'm not going to make super helpful variable names, which I should be doing, then I'm at least going to make comments so I know what's going on. So there we are. I have my background blue value, background color incrementer, and what I'm going to do is instead of changing BGB, I'm just going to make BGI equal negative BGI so that it's a negative version of itself. And then I'll get rid of that. I'll just change the code overall. So basically the idea is that I want it to go up, down, up, down, up, down. So if BGB is ever greater than or equal to 254, then what I want to do is I want to make BGI not equal to 2, but negative 2. Also, if BGB is ever less than or equal to 1, because we can't have it going less than 0, then what we're going to do is we're going to make BGI equal negative BGI again. Which again, if it was going negative and it's negative 2, now it's going to be negative negative 2, which is positive 2. And that's really it. I don't think we need an else statement here. And then what we'll do is no matter what, we'll still just always add BGB plus equals BGI. That way we're just always, no matter what, changing the color. I think that's all that I need to do, but I want to, yep, okay, BG color, it says invalid color argument right off the bat. It starts off, oh, because it starts off at 0, so it's less than, yeah, okay, that's me being silly. I just need to start it off at 3. If you're not sure why I got that error, then I recommend playing with that code exactly as it was written and plug in a bunch of different values to see what will happen. But basically, I started off at 0, which is less than 1, so it made 2 negative 2, and it started going negative. But yeah, there it is. We have a sort of like pulsing color. And you can do a lot of different things with that. I think that's really cool. If we make our background color like a little bit prettier, I don't know, let's just add like a little bit of color here. 80 for green. No, let's make that like 105. Let's make this like 40. I recommend using like, if you Google RGB color picker, you can get some really pretty colors. But yeah. Unfortunately, we're always going to have green. Maybe you don't want green, so you could make more code to make it so that like, uh, you know, if BGB is greater than or equal to, let's see, the color value for the green is 100. So let's say equal to 110. Then we're going to use this background color. Else, meaning it's less than, then let's just use a different let's just use like a different, like, let's make the red go down to 20 and make the green go down to 40. And it just, that way it just, I don't know, it'll probably be like a sudden jump. Yeah, you'll see it change. But I mean, I recommend playing around with this and just seeing, how you can make the colors change. I think it's an interesting way to start off. But this is the first thing that I wanted to go over. So just playing with colors, making them work, that's it. We have gone from having an absolute shell of a program. I mean, you may not know exactly what's going on in this program. I recommend following along, but we went from having an absolute shell, having just, this, right, which is just an empty background, to at least having, pleasant colors that move. And I think that that's interesting and worth, noting. So this is our first video. I'm going to start working with shapes in the next video. So thanks for paying attention.